Hello and welcome to a follow-up of me getting my Nasogastric J Tube. I have to say it has been very tough. The struggle is real. I've had this for about 6 weeks now, and I just wanted to do a video on all of the things that you're not told before you get a nasogastric tube. You get a sore throat. From information that I'd seen before I got this, most people say that their sore throat lasts just a couple of days, but mine lasted for 2 solid weeks. It felt like I had a really bad case of tonsillitis where every time I swallowed, I felt like there were razor blades cutting open my throat every single time. I don't know how I put up with it. After this, the severity of the pain did die down a little bit, but I do still have days when it is just horrible and so sore. Painkillers, anesthetic throat sprays, anesthetic lozenges, they don't do anything to help with the pain. The tube moves from the middle of my throat to the side of my throat. When it's in the middle, it doesn't really do anything. I can't really feel it. But when it moves to the side, that's when the pain intensifies. If I talk too much or if I'm talking at work all day, my voice seems to come and go. It's like I've got laryngitis or a cold. This makes doing the job that I do quite difficult because some days I need to be talking on the phone for 8 hours a day. It's not only a challenge for me, but a challenge for anybody that I have to speak to because they're the ones who have to try to understand me. Sometimes when the tube goes over to the side of my throat, the pain radiates into my ear. You cannot blow your nose. Firstly, because I would have a bit of a fear that I would blow the tube out. And secondly, because when I have all the tape and everything over my nose, I don't really have any access to be able to blow my nose properly. You get a really big build-up of, well, frankly, snot. After 3 weeks of me not being able to blow my nose or be able to clean it properly, what came out I can only describe as what looked like a really big slug. You get this smell which is coming from inside of your nose, and sometimes I've felt that it is so bad that the whole world can just smell this smell permeating out of every single pore of my body. But once I do manage to be able to clean out my nose and get rid of the slugs, the smell goes away until the next time. I feel like the inside of my mouth is really dirty. And some days all I want to do is be brushing my teeth all day to try and get rid of this feeling. You cannot wash your face properly when you've got tape stuck to your cheek, and then when I've got the plaster on my nose, there's just no access to be able to wash your face properly. So because of this, I started getting pimples. And frankly, I'm too old for pimples. There is a big challenge when trying to wash your hair because you can't get the plasters that are on your face wet. So trying to juggle not getting the water on your face at the same time as not trying to pull out the tube at the same time as trying to wash your hair is a bit of a challenge. Most of the time I have failed this and managed to get my whole face wet. So then after the shower I've had to change all of my dressings. I also had the problem that when I went to bed and I just had my tube hanging, when my hair was down, the tube and my hair would just wrap and entwine around each other. And then if I moved too much, then this would all sort of pull. So I thought, I've got a great idea for this. I'll go and get my hair cut off. So I went to the hairdressers and got 15 centimeters cut off the length of my hair, so that it's about the same length as the tube when it's all hanging out. But unfortunately, That didn't work. Everything still managed to get tangled up with each other. So what I have to do now is I sleep like this with my hair in a bun, and then I get this and pin it up here without this extension bit, and that's how I go to sleep, with it up there at the top of my head. And so far that seems to have done the trick. I have to sleep breathing through my mouth now because, well, there's not much room going on here for me to be able to breathe and get enough air that I need to be able to sleep. But the trouble with breathing through your mouth is everything gets very dry. Once things get dry, then the tube will stick to the side of my mouth or the back of my throat. That then will cause me pain, and that will wake me up. This can happen up to 6 times during the night. The tiredness is on another level. I thought I knew tired because of my lupus and fibromyalgia, but since getting my tube, the tiredness is on a whole nother level. The mental and physical demands of having a tube was something that I never even thought of. And then pair that with restless and disturbed night sleeps. Sometimes just functioning during the day is a very hard task. Intestines don't like to have formula put directly into them. And in my case, as soon as the formula is put in, most of the time my body's been rejecting it and just gets rid of it, sometimes as quickly as it's going in. It can take numerous attempts of trying different formulas, different strengths of formulas, different rates of feeding, and different times of feeding before you can come up with something that is harmonious for your body to accept. With all of my experimenting that I've been doing over the last 6 weeks, I still haven't found the magic formula or the magic numbers that allow me to get the full value of this nutrition that I need put into my body. Because of this, so far in about 6 weeks, I've only managed to put on a couple of 100 grams, whereas it probably should be a few kilos by now. These few 100 grams isn't really helping the cause because the whole point of this is to help me gain some weight. I think I was under the delusion that you can just sort of plug yourself into whatever formula, whatever speed, doesn't matter, and bam, everything will just work perfectly. Boy, was I wrong. The end of the tube that is in my intestine is very small, so it does not take much for it to start blocking up or blocking completely. Flushing the tube before and after each feed is absolutely essential, otherwise you're guaranteed to make it get all blocked up. And once it's blocked, it's very hard to be able to unblock it again. If the tube becomes blocked, then most likely I'd have to go to the hospital and see if they can unblock it. And if they can't, then I would need a whole new tube replacement. Now that I don't want, because it was bad enough getting the first one in the first place. So I have been doing absolutely everything that I can and being so nice to this tube and looking after it so carefully to make sure that it never ever gets blocked. Dumping syndrome is a complication that can occur when you get a feeding tube. And unfortunately for me, but pretty typical my style, I'm pretty sure that I have developed this. I'm lucky enough that I still am able to eat and drink, and I can eat or drink whatever I want or whatever I feel like. I don't have any specific diet as such, But there are limitations to this. Because of the tube that's going down my throat, there are some things that when I've tried to eat, they get stuck. And then it is quite a task trying to get them unstuck again. So I've learned at the moment that I need to stay away from things like salads or sort of raw type vegetables. Bread is another one that's quite difficult. Lollies, and I've given lollies a lot of tries, but it still keeps happening. And chocolate, and I've given chocolate a lot of tries as well, but I still can't figure out how to be able to eat it without it getting stuck. There's also some medications that get stuck depending on the size of the capsule or the tablet. So trying to figure out how to still be able to have them has been a bit of a challenge, and I haven't quite got that perfect yet. It's getting closer, but there are still some days where I'm choking on a tablet. Also things like hard biscuits, which if a biscuit is hard, generally I can't eat it because that gets stuck. But there are some hard biscuits that once you chew them up a bit, then they do sort of disintegrate. So those ones are okay. There's also things like popcorn, which I had a big craving for a few weeks ago when I went to the movies, but there was no way that I would be able to get popcorn to be able to be swallowed properly and safely. For the most part, my diet is soft foods, but there are some foods that I've found different ways of being able to have them. So if I want my toast in the morning, that's fine. I can have my toast as long as I just have little bits at a time. But if I want bigger bits, if I dunk them in my coffee, I know that sounds gross, but I don't care. It means that I can eat it and there's no problem with it going down. I'm still trialing different types of formulas. I'm up to number 5 now and still playing around with the different rates of how quickly the formula goes into my intestines. I'm also trying to increase my oral intake, which since the very beginning when I was in hospital, it has increased a little bit, which I never thought would be possible. So I will continue to work on that. So my progress has been really slow. And when I saw my gastroenterologist last week, he said that I have this tube for at least another 2 months and then we'll see what happens after that. If things still aren't going well, then I would think that he'll just take it out because there's no point of it being there. It's not helping me at all. But if I do start to show some signs of improvement, then possibly in a few more months I would get this changed from a nasogastric tube into one of the tubes that goes directly into your belly, which would be a lot more comfortable than this. And obviously I wouldn't have to show off my belly to the world because at the moment everyone can see this little thing going on my face. He did give me the worst case scenario, and that is if nothing works at all, if I continue to lose even more weight than what I've already lost and there's just no other options, then I would be a candidate for TPN, which TPN I can go into another time. But basically it is intravenous nutrition. So you get a little port on your chest or on your arm, and the little tube runs basically into your heart from what I can gather and gives you nutrition directly into your heart. That is very risky to have that, and that is something that I do not want. So I will keep on experimenting and trying absolutely everything that I can to try and get this whole feeding system working properly and getting some improvements and kicking goals. My gastroenterologist did say to me though that it's not totally not understandable that my body isn't accepting this feeding process, because basically my body's been starved for so long, possibly years, when I wasn't able to get any help and all the doctors just thought I was having a whinge about having a sore stomach. So all of my symptoms just went on and on and on and just got worse and worse and worse until I got to this point. So basically, I have to retrain my body on how to take in nutrition, on how to eat properly again, on how to keep food into my system, on how to ingest food and my body not instantly go into, this is foreign, I'm going to cause you pain. So I know that it's going to be a very long process. My gastroenterologist did say that it could be a 1 or 2 year process that I need to go through. That did not please me at all, and I would love to speed things up a bit. But at the moment, I think I just need to accept that this is going to be part of me and part of my life for the next, you know, possibly 2 years. And I just need to accept it and just go with it and have all of this as part of my daily routine, my daily life. And when I go somewhere, or if I'm going out somewhere with someone, then it's not just me who's going out, it's me and Tubi. We're a pair now, we're a team, and you get one, you get the other. Thank you for watching another episode of Brooklyn's World. I hope that this video has been informative and that I will be able to help somebody out there who is about to get a nasogastric tube, and hopefully they don't get as many surprises as I did when all of this happened to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you again for watching.